Welcome back to another episode of Final Whistle ATX with me, Harley, here with Nick. Things are a little bit different this week, as you might be able to tell. Not only are we missing our fearless leader, Wyatt, this week, but we are not in the pub, unfortunately. Some technical issues, but we wanted to get something out for you guys. So here we are, Zoom edition of Final Whistle ATX. We're going to make it work. Mini episode this week, but we'll see what we can do for you guys in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we tried to record on Wednesday, and I was missing then, covering the aftermath of tornado and flash flooding damage in Fayette County. So you guys did a thing, and then you had audio issues, and then we were going to record again another time, and then Wyatt's car keys got bent or something. So it's just a whole mess, but we're glad you could join us in this way, and we hope to be back in the pub next week, right?
We recorded an amazing episode on Wednesday, and it will never be seen. Lost to history, but I can guarantee it was an amazing episode.
When we all die in 60 or 70 years, we'll release that episode to the world as the lost footage of Final Whistle ATX.
Well, that's a nice morbid note to start this week on. I like it. Talking of morbid, Austin FC, we're a little ways removed from it now as we record, but a 2-0 defeat to LA Galaxy last weekend. What did you think about that game, Nick?
If I'm honest, I think we've had better losses where we've been the better team, or at least the effort was there. I think the game against the Galaxy, to sum it up bluntly, was our worst game of the season. The effort didn't seem there. The aggression seemed lost. The determination to get something from the game seemed gone. I never got the sense that we were going to get back in it. I just got the sense that the Galaxy were having a tough time scoring. I think it could have been 3-4, 0, 4-1, something like that. That we sort of got lucky. The score flatters us a little bit. But, if that's our worst game and we lose 2-0, then that's not too bad, I suppose, when you consider the other possibilities.
It's interesting that you say that, because you weren't there for our episode on Wednesday that Wyatt and I recorded, but he actually made a similar point with the lack of energy. And you say the lack of aggression, and to me, that's, you're missing Alex Ring, who is such a big part of that. I feel like we talk every week about him setting the tone and being the heartbeat of this team. And with him suspended last week, I just wonder how big of an effect that had on the team.
Yeah, and do you know how long the suspension is? Do you think he'll be back this weekend?
I believe it's just one game. I think he's back this weekend. This will look terrible if that's wrong, but I believe it's just one game. So that's huge that he's coming back.
Yeah, so, we'll be able to tell this weekend if his effect as a captain is going to be a big one when he returns, and hopefully we get something this weekend, because we're now on a bad run of games. We had the first loss of the season, then we had a great run, then we were a winning team, then we were a 500 team, and now we're a losing team. So this weekend is crucial for me.
Yeah, agreed. We've started on kind of a low note this week, talking about the defeat last week. So let's get into something a little bit more positive. Nick, you actually wanted to talk about this week. Our favorite players of the season so far, or a player that we've been impressed with so far. So let me toss it to you first. Let's get some positive vibes going now. Who do you want to shout out today?
For me, there is just one huge standout performer, and even in loss, he's been a great player. Brad Stuver kept us in the game against LA Galaxy, saving that penalty kick from Chicharito. It wasn't a badly placed penalty kick from Chicharito. It wasn't like he kicked it right at Stuver. It was low and in the corner. But Stuver read it well and got down quickly and got there. But that's not the first time he has made some game-saving or game lengthening, opportunity saving performances, however you want to put it. He kept us in the game longer, at least in that eventual defeat. I think he helped us win against Minnesota when it was only 1-0. I think he afforded us the opportunity to come away with 3 points and not just one from that game. But every single game, there's been moments where he has come out big. And I'm not sure I can say the same about everybody. There have been players that have played better than him in some games and then disappeared in others. He's been consistent for me. Consistency is key, and aggression's my next favorite thing for the outfield players especially. But Brad Stuver's consistency and excellent performances have been just great for me. What about you?
Well, I was just going to add to that. And for those that aren't familiar with the Stuver story, it's a really good one. He's, I believe, 30 years old and has never been a number one goalkeeper before in the MLS. So he's got his chance with Austin FC, with the brand new team. And I think that moment that you highlighted when he dived low to his left and saved that Chicharito penalty, that was a real moment of, I'm the number one. This is my team. And yeah, I just thought that was a really cool moment.
I almost think he could be a backup captain when Ring's out. He's got that leadership quality that I think he leads from the back, and it's not unheard of, obviously, to have the captains for a team be in goal.
Yeah, agreed. For my player that I wanted to talk about, and I kind of want to see your reaction because this might come a little bit out of left field. I wanted to talk about... In fact, almost the opposite, and I'll explain why in a second.
Okay.
This player was not even a starter at the start of this season, but he's taken his chance in the team, really come into his own. And for me, Jared Stroud playing on the right wing has just made such an impact. He's direct, which is what I love from wingers. It feels like every time he picks up the ball, he's turning towards goal and playing a positive pass or just running towards the goal, wherever he is on the pitch, which is great. A couple of really nice assists, especially that one for John Gallagher in Kansas City, which has got a lot of praise, rightly so, online. So yeah, for me, a guy who was not signed necessarily to be a star in this team has just really impressed me. He's taken on that role on the right wing and really made it his own. So good job, Jared Stroud, and keep it up.
That's a good choice. And it makes me think of Fagundes, who also wasn't going to be a starter. Pochettino had to miss a game due to technicalities. Fagundes gets bumped up to starter and shines. It seems like some of our shining stars this season so far have been players you wouldn't have necessarily suggested would do that from the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and I love that from a team that we're still getting to know and that we're still getting used to. It's good to have these extra players stepping up that maybe we don't expect.
What are you thinking about this coming weekend?
It's a really interesting one. Nashville SC on the road again, of course, because we only ever play on the road. Sunday night. Nashville, the reason why I'm so interested in this one, and perhaps more than most games so far this season, is that Nashville was an expansion team last season. Not only that, they were a good expansion team last season. They made the playoffs. They even won a playoff game in their first ever season. And looking at Austin FC now, we can really see how difficult that is to do. So they're a good team. They're really hard to beat. I believe they haven't conceded a goal in their last 3 going into this one. And coupled with some of Austin FC's struggles in the final third, that might be a difficult matchup. So an interesting team against a side that I think Austin FC almost aspires to be.
Yeah, I think the game itself, regardless of the opponent, is a game we have to come out with something. Losses on the trot like this need to be stopped. Even with a draw, I think would be a success this weekend because it could start to build the momentum back. I think that's almost the most important thing about this weekend is not who we're playing or how we do against them. Even if we play poorly, I think we got to come up with some points just to stop the bleeding here. And remember, after this game, that'll be 6 of our 8 away games done with. And then we've got 2 more before we start talking about that first home match in mid-June that I think everyone's circled for a while.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've had a chance to peek ahead at the schedule, but next week we're actually playing the Seattle Sounders, who are probably the best team in the country right now. So lose this one, and there's a very good chance that we're looking at 4 straight defeats, which really slows that momentum that Austin FC had at the start of the season. So I guess we'll see how it goes.
And we would need some type of momentum to go up against Seattle anyway, just for a confidence boost, because it can be tough as a new team to go to a place like Seattle and come away with something if you've lost several games in a row. I think they've got it in them. I think if they pull out their best, kind of the best of the highlights of each of the games, if they combine them into an all-around team performance, I think we could come up with something against Seattle. Of course, we got to worry about Nashville first, but it could set the stage for a decent game in Seattle, and then one more game in Kansas City, I think it is, before we host one.
Yeah, well said. And it's getting exciting as the weeks tick down, for sure.
No doubt. Are you still thinking we're going all the way? I'm still thinking as long as we have a winning season, it's success.
Let's see how this week goes. I think this week could be a very big one to how everything goes over the course of the season. So maybe that's something we'll talk about next week. How about that for a tease?
Yeah, well, before we finish, we did get a couple of questions using the hashtag Final Whistle ATX. Do you remember those questions? And you want to?
Well, I was going to say, why don't we save them for the pub next week? That's what I was going to say. We're planning to be back in the pub next week. We apologise that we are not this week. We were, I promise, on Wednesday. Hence this mini Zoom episode.
This is your excuse to go to a
pub. But do tweet us your questions. Hashtag Final Whistle ATX. We're also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. You can find us on KXAN News. Nick, you're usually the guy with the plugs. Have I missed anything there?
No, that about does it. And we'll be back at BD Riley's as we head into next week. So thank you for sticking with us in kind of an unusual format this week. We certainly miss our good pal Wyatt. Hopefully he's managed to get into his car by now. And we will see you all next week. And let's hope Austin FC come away with something this weekend.
Yeah, and we can't do our cheers to end the episode this week, but we'll do it anyway. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. Thanks for watching.
See ya.